Well, thank you very much for joining us. When did you last speak to him? What's his state of mind at the moment?
I saw him in person on Friday. I took my kids over after I picked him up from school to see Grandpa. Of course, he gave him a lot of chocolates and candies. But I have to tell you, he is incredibly strong. He was in a great mood when I saw him on Friday. My husband reported the same thing today. He's in great spirits. And I think it's just proof positive that, I mean, they don't come much tougher than Donald J. Trump. You would be hard pressed to find someone who has taken as much incoming as he has throughout the past 6.5, 7 years at this point, and yet is still soldiering on, still continuing forward, and still determined to run for, and I believe, win the presidency of the United States for a second time.
What is the game plan legally here? Has he let you into the strategy?
You know, I'm not totally involved in the legal portion of this, but I think what is evident to anyone who has taken a look at this, and legal minds from both sides of the political aisle here in America will tell you that what they are accusing him of doing is not a crime. There has been no crime committed. So what you'll see, of course, is an arraignment of my father-in-law. You'll see him fingerprinted. I'm sure they'll try to make some spectacle of a perp walk if they possibly can. There will, of course, be a mugshot taken, all for being totally innocent of what he is charged with doing. And everyone knows that. And I think that is the really outrageous thing here for all of us in America, to see this playing out in real time, know that someone is innocent of the charges against them, and yet they are going to these lengths in a city like New York that is burning to the ground, where you have crime through the roof. This is where the focus of the district attorney's office has been. It's outrageous.
Is there a sense in which your father-in-law is sort of relishing this fight?
Well, I think this is a man who has stood since the day he came down the escalators in Trump Tower and announced as an outsider that he was running for president, who has relished really every fight, because I think people are continuing to wake up every day in this country and realize that it isn't that they're after Donald Trump. He always says this: they're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way. There are people in this country who hate America and who want to tear it down to its foundation and rebuild it in a globalist image. And that is their dream and their hope. Donald Trump stands in their way of doing that. He represents patriotism. He represents the American people who go to work every day, work hard, pay their taxes, and love this country. And so I think he has stood as a symbol for so many people for so long. And he does, in some ways, relish any fight where he knows he's right, where he knows he's standing up against the establishment and you know, people who want to change our country. Obviously, I think he probably wishes that it hadn't gotten this far, but he's ready to take it on, you know, and face it head on, as everything else he's done in his life.
I mean, what would you say in light of what happened on January the 6th to his supporters who are coming to New York? What's the message to them? I mean, there are obviously concerns that there could be trouble.
Obviously, we do not want any violence. Obviously, we want everything to remain peaceful. You know, it's interesting because here in America, what we have seen is that it is oftentimes folks on the left, the Antifa individuals, Black Lives Matter, who burn down federal buildings in our country and police precincts, assault people.
I mean, they would push back. Sure, they would push back, just to be fair, to say that's exactly what happened more or less on January the 6th, that, you know, his supporters were the ones that broke into...
There were certainly a handful of people who probably took things to a level that they shouldn't have.
Well, how is he going to juggle campaigning and the, you know, multiple legal criminal cases? It's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Well, for anyone who's been around my father-in-law, I think they very quickly learn that he seems to have more energy than people half or even a third his age. I mean, this is a guy who in 2016, I can recall, we would do like 5 different rallies. And at the end of the last rally, he would say, could we fly west and do one more? Is there time to go somewhere else, when the rest of us were utterly exhausted?